Algebra 2, Worksheet 22.4, number 20, the very last problem. And asks us to create a quadratic equation for each pair of complex numbers such that those numbers are its roots. So, just think about what that means for a minute. Quadratic means our equation should have x squared. That's what a quadratic equation is. And that also means that if we solve the equation, our answers would be these. So what it really means is at the end we'd have x equals 1, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use the positive. 1 plus I square root 3 would be one answer. The other would be the 1 minus I square root 3. Now, we have to work backwards because, again, eventually we have to have an equation with x squared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take everything, I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to take this positive 1, I'm going to move it back with the x. Because normally we're solving for x, but now we're solving for the equation. X minus 1, I'm subtracting from both sides, equals I square root 3. Now, again, kind of backwards solving here. I want to get rid of this square root. How do I get rid of a square? I'm going to square both sides. So this becomes x minus 1 squared. X minus 1 squared. Now, if I square this, that gives me I squared times 3. What I'm doing is I'm squaring both terms in here. I to the second is I squared. The square root of 3 squared is just plain old 3. Now remember that I squared always becomes negative 1, which means it's negative 1 times 3. So this would actually equal negative 3. Now we want the original equation, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this as x minus 1 times x minus 1, and I'm going to just multiply this all out. This gives me x squared minus x plus 1 equals negative 3. I combine my terms. X squared minus 2x plus 1 equals negative 3. And then the last thing to do is move this negative 3 over. X squared minus 2x. I'm adding 3 to both sides. Plus 4 equals 0. Now if I took that equation, I want to check just to make sure. I could try to factor it, and guess what? It's not going to factor because the answer, remember, is going to be this complex solution. Or I could complete the square. Now, so just to check and see if I'm right, I'm going to complete the square. You could also do quadratic formula, but if I complete the square, I'm going to move this positive 4 over. That's negative 4 plus blank. And you don't always have to do this. This is, again, just checking to see if we did this correctly. I'm going to add positive 1 to both sides because I'm taking my middle term, negative 2. I'm dividing by 2 and squaring to complete the square. This now becomes x minus 1 squared equals, there's negative 3, and, square root of both sides to solve. And, square root of negative 3, that means I have I square root 3 because of that negative under the square root, which means I have x minus 1. Remember, since I have the square root, it's plus or minus. Add the 1 to both sides. And it does end up becoming what we wanted it to become. So checking it worked out, which means our final answer for that quadratic equation is x squared minus 2x plus 4.